Hey guys, we've got a great show for you today with Joy and Jay from the JingSlingers.com. And before we introduce them and start the show, I just want to let you know that if you would like to grab the show notes for this particular episode, you can do that by heading on over to extremehealthradio.com/393, and you can get the show notes, the links to everything we talked about during the show. And it was amazing having them in the studio, and it was a great time, and it just was amazing to see what they're up to in terms of food and what they're doing for people. We love them a lot, and they're just great people, so check them out, JingSlingers.com. And I also want to let you know really quickly before we start the show that this particular show is free, as are all of our shows, but it's being brought to you by Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. Now, this is an amazing way to ground yourself doing moving meditations, and I've been doing this for quite some time now, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, and you can really, really build your chi, rebuild your chi, bring more energy and vitality to your life, ground yourself. It's an amazing way to heal the body, and I'm just a huge fan of Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. So if you want to check it out, you can head on over to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. That's QIGONG. Or you could check it out in the show notes of this particular show page or in our store as well. So we thank you so much for supporting us, and let's get on to the show. Well, I'm just sitting here laughing because this is the first time that we've all been silent for any amount of time since we've all been together.
That's what happens when you have good friends and good food.
Oh, my goodness.
Can't shut the old pie hole, can you?
Can't shut the pie hole.
I'm allowed to say that. It's our show. I can say whatever I want.
So today we have the JingSlingers on, and so their website is JingSlingers.com, right?
Yes.
And we just filmed a YouTube video that we'll be putting on this particular show page as well. And this is episode 393, so if you want to grab the show notes, if you're listening live, or if you're listening to the podcast version, you can grab the show notes at extremehealthradio.com/393. Is that right? That's right? 393.
You got it.
And for reference, today is August 14th, 2015.
Wow, you're on it today. It's all that Jing.
Oh, I know, man. I'm just going crazy. We just had these amazing snacks that you guys brought over.
Can't wait to talk about them.
And you guys have put together the JingSlingers.com, and you are members of the International Association of Culinary Professionals. Yes. Jay, you used to work at the Herbal Tonic Bar in Erewhon Natural Market.
Yep, in Hollywood, California.
And you guys have an incredible journey of working with these amazing foods. I cannot believe how freaking good these foods are. Amazing.
Justin's eyeballs just about popped out of his head.
I'm just flabbergasted because, I've tried a lot of food, but man, this is just off the charts.
Yeah, that way when you see our testimonials on our Kickstarter video, those are spontaneous and real.
Yeah. They're legit.
They seem legit watching it. People's just and I think, like Justin said earlier, when we were trying these different foods, it hits you like you love it, but then something happens like 5 seconds in where you're like, oh my gosh, like this isn't even real. It's just not real. I can't believe that this food, the idea that we've gotten into this in the last few years since we've had the show, but like the idea that food can actually taste good and be healing.
We've gotten pretty good with blending foods and doing juices and different smoothies and things. And I think when you get lazy, those are great things to have, right? The smoothies and the juices. You can throw a lot of good stuff in there, but I don't want to be lazy anymore because your stuff is just so good.
Not after you've had a pizza crust like that, probably.
Oh, my goodness.
And some of our things really just are like one bowl and one spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, I wanted to ask you before we got on the show, Joe, I wanted to ask you, and then I'll ask you, Jay, how you got into this. Because you were sharing a little bit about being a cop for 10 years. Was it 10 years or 20 years?
For just under 20 years.
So how did you get involved with doing... this is almost diametrically opposite of doing that.
Well, my mom's a professional baker, and we were always in the kitchen. There's 6 kids in my family. I'm second oldest. So being in the kitchen and being the culinary sous chef pretty much for my mom, was right there. Plus, the whole time I was a police officer, on my time off, it was like the yin to my yang. I was doing birthdays and weddings and christenings and business openings. It was very happy, amazing, wonderful things to be a caterer and do that.
Mm-hmm. So you were talking a little bit before about how you got involved with this, and you're saying that you've been doing these sorts of recipes for how long now?
Really for a long time, with Jay for the last 4 years, but probably another 2 years before that, maybe longer. It's closer to 10 years.
Okay.
And it all started with a medical 2x4 to make me reassess what I was eating and what I was doing to my own meat suit.
Medical 2x4.
Yeah.
I love that when you said that before the show. It got hit with a medical 2x4.
It truly took that. I don't know that I would have listened otherwise.
Really?
Yeah.
So can you share and describe a little bit about what that was?
Yeah. At my well, first of all, just being a police officer, they call it 0.5 food. We get things for half price or sometimes even free. So drive-through food was a given, and you didn't even think about it. It's you only had a few minutes to eat when you're on the road. Wow. And I was a road officer as well as a canine handler. And
so these places would just give you food for free for being a cop.
Or 0.5 or half price.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, which is nice because then they're really safe because we're there and they know they're not going to be robbed or have a problem while we're there. However, not realizing I was sacrificing my health for convenience, completely unknowingly. And that was just one part of the puzzle. It's not just about, food that's apparently GMO, trans fat. I mean, the list goes on and on about what those things are. But my weight started to go way up. And as I retired from law enforcement, I ballooned up to almost 300 pounds. I was 287 pounds at my highest weight. And so I wanted to know why that was happening and why my hormones were, wrecked. And most importantly, why I had no energy, even though I didn't consider myself old. And I went to, I had great insurance because, I worked for the city.
Everything paid for.
Yeah, and which meant lots of, vaccinations and different kinds of radiation when the people are looking for, doing the chest x-rays and all the stuff that comes in an annual exam. And that, I think, layered with not knowing any better, even at the house. You use the microwave. You microwave what you have. You switch, you think you're doing something healthy, you switch to soy milk because you think that's better. And so all these things created the perfect storm for a 3-pound tumor that was on my left ovary that I didn't even know was there. And
you found it just by a scan?
No, actually, I went to an energetic healer. Didn't even know I had this.
That's right.
And when he was doing my acupuncture and checking me, he's like, "There's something you have to check this." His name's Dr. Drew Karp, and he really was the person who took my life into the right direction right at that.
What made you see him?
My sisters were seeing him. One of my sisters was seeing him and getting really good results. So I wanted to see Dr. Karp. I was open to that.
Wow.
So
good, just as well, because I could imagine that in your line of work, it would be very easy to be sort of closed off to that kind of thing.
Yeah, because it looks like smoke and mirrors from the outside.
Yeah.
Unless you really understand.
That's crazy.
So just to make the story short, he was completely dead right on. I mean, right where he put his hands, exactly where this tumor was, and it was confirmed by conventional medicine. And I did have surgery and have it removed. I didn't have any aftercare. I didn't have any radiation or chemo or anything.
Okay.
But I have to say that I was actually glad about that. There was something intrinsically in me that just said, you can heal far and away better than you've ever been told or led to believe. And that's when I found literally David Wolfe and Charlotte Gerson, and just used my investigative powers to now work for my health.
Thank God for the internet.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
right?
And literally got to meet David. Now David's a friend.
Yeah,
and Daniel Vitalis, and just all those people that bring all that kind of really good information. And I became not just a student or just a researcher. I actually went to Tree of Life, for over a month. And,
oh wow!
And Dr. Gabriel Cousins, and there's so many different aspects to how we can make ourselves better. And you have to find what resonates with you most, both emotionally and spiritually, as well as physically.
Right.
And so that's how I find myself today.
Wow.
Which is working with tonic herbs and being a tonic Chinese herbalist. And our actual title for me and my handsome partner here, is we are Jing Master Alchemical Culinary Artisans. So,
yeah, I saw that in your bio. Let me see if I can say that again. What is it? Jing Master Alchemical Culinary Artisans. I love that.
Yeah. Which basically we take,
so cool.
It's not just tonic Chinese herbalism. We take that and we use it with a synergy with high-powered food-based supplements, as well as beautiful organic superfoods and foods in general.
Nice. Wow, what a story. So Jay, how did you get involved with everything? How did you get into this whole kind of weird lifestyle that we're all somehow involved in?
Mr. Massachusetts over there. How did this happen?
Well, when I was a teenager, in my later teenage years, about 18 or 19...
Feel free to move the mic, too, anyway.
Okay,
just move it around.
When I was 18, 19, I started getting into yoga, studying yoga, Kundalini yoga, meditation, all that. And a few years after that, I went up and I did a work-study program in Canada at a ashram up there, up in the mountains. And when I was there, one of the other fellows there doing a work-study program, he was from Germany. He was a psychologist from Germany, and he was into all of the raw food diet, colon cleansing, like Bernard Jensen colon cleansing, and liver flushes, David Jubb type liver flushes with olive oil and lemon juice, and he was just really passionate about it, and it was one of those things. In just a couple conversations with him, it ignited this passion in me, and part of that had to do with probably 2 years before that, my father had early stage prostate cancer that they found, and they operated, they took it out, and when I talked to him, this guy at the ashram, it just occurred to me that I had this paradigm shift, because I realized that there are actually answers out there. There are actually solutions out there. And just growing up, in society, there's this whole perception of, well, we don't know anything. Nobody knows why anything like this happens, and we don't know. It's a mystery. Yeah. And so when you start actually learning about this, I realized I don't know anything about how the human body works. I don't know anything about the food that I'm consuming. I don't know any of this. And isn't that really one of the most important things you could learn about, is how to take care of your body? Yeah. So that started, that was probably about 10 years ago or so. Okay. And about a year after that, I moved out here to Los Angeles. I was a film video major in college, and I actually moved out here to get into screenwriting, but I was already passionate about health. And I ended up falling into, I would say, the Los Angeles tonic bar scene, or
that evil, seedy underground.
Elixirs for everyone.
It's not exactly the scene they warn you about when you're moving out from the East Coast to LA.
Yeah, you won't find Paris Hilton there.
So I started actually at a place called Real Raw Live, which is on Franklin Street in Hollywood. They're like a juice bar, smoothie bar, and I worked there for about 6 or 9 months. And then I ended up, through just a series of synchronicities, I would say, I came to the Erewhon Tonic Bar, and I was there with Truth Calkins, who started the Erewhon Tonic Bar. Oh, is he the guy that's kind of got it going? Yeah, he started it.
He started the whole thing?
Yeah, he left there a couple years ago to pursue other endeavors, but he started it. It's been there now for about 10 years, actually. I think they just had their 10-year anniversary of the Tonic Bar. But he was really, Truth was the first person to take superfoods and to take his knowledge of Chinese tonic herbs and to put those together.
With supplements.
Yeah, he was actually the one who got David Wolfe into tonic herbs.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that. Yep. David Wolfe hadn't really heard of the herbalism or the herbal side of stuff, because he was doing primarily superfoods at the time, right? And
right. So Truth really popularized this at Erewhon, and now it's just amazing. You can walk into Whole Foods and see ready-made drinks on the shelf that have chocolate and maca and reishi and hoshu wu all together. That's and amazing. That all started at Erewhon with Truth. So I was there with him. I was there 4 years full time. Doing. Last time I counted, it was over 50,000 drinks that have created
moly.
for people. So people walk in off the street. They tell you how they're feeling. Crazy. Maybe they're sick. Maybe they're run down. Maybe they're going out to party. Maybe they just got off doing a full week, on set, and they want something hot. They want something cold. They want a meal replacement. They just want something to feel better. And so you do really quick assessment with them, kind of figure out their constitution, how sensitive they are, and create something on the spot. And so that was just amazing training where it's decades worth of knowledge working with people stuffed into a few years.
So you're learning. So you got to learn sort of the constitution of the people, then you have to learn what all the herbs do, right? All the tonic herbs, and then also combining them with some kind of way of making them taste good, and chocolate or whatever. Yeah. So you got to combine all that together just on the fly like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because herbs don't have the best reputation as tasting good, especially some of the more bitter ones like reishi mushroom or shilajit, from the Ayurvedic system. So being able to, I like to say, you lean into the flavor of the herb. So the really rich and bitter herbs you use more of like a chocolate with, or people who do coffee can do coffee. You always want to do your best to lean into the flavor profile so it's not sticking out and hitting your palate and you're like choking it down and it's like, okay, this is good for me, I'll drink it. You want it to really be enjoyable, because when it's enjoyable, your system is more relaxed and your entire system's going to just absorb it better. I participated in that joy just a few minutes ago, so did Kate.
Yeah, it's something that you want them to want to have, because compliance is everything. The tonic herbs don't work unless you eat them. And it's cellular attunement on levels that I didn't even realize. Both Jay and I have studied with Ron Teagarden, and it's not just on the job stuff. We research it as well as get formal education in this, and so being able to understand literally what the herbs do, how they play together, because sometimes the synergy between more than one adaptogenic herb is ridiculous, and so it doesn't take 45 different things in one drink. You certainly can do that, but when someone tells us that they can't sleep or they have problems with libido, there's usually one or maybe two herbs that you can put into that drink: ice cream, elixir, tonic, or in the case panna cotta, like you had out there, that will start to do the trick. And the people that are more sensitive, because there are people that are really sensitive, uber sensitive, and some people that it takes a little while, or non-responders we call them, after a period of time, because it tastes so good, you want it over and over again, and then you start to see and feel the difference. It's like, wow, I slept through the whole night. I can finally go to the bathroom.
Right.
A lot of people have digestive issues that are just, horrible to have to deal with on a daily basis. So being able to get the probiotics in and the good, superfoods, and be able to, get the antioxidants in, changes your blood chemistry and changes your body for the better.
Right.
You know what I think is just so refreshing about this is I feel like people are getting sick of going. There's so many people with sensitivities to food and things like that. I think people are getting over going to restaurants and feeling like people are like making judgments about them when they say, I can't eat dairy, can you not put cheese on it, can you not, it's like you feel like you're this pain in the ass to everybody, and I think people are like burdened by that. And then you have this whole new group of people that's like you were saying, Jay, like, let me make you, tell me what your story is, and you're not bothering me at all. I want to help you with food, with tonics, with herbs. Like, that's so refreshing, because I feel like it's going to take that shift in people's consciousness to realize we should care about, when we go to a restaurant, we should know what we're eating and we should care, and then not feel like we're bothering the person making it.
Because remember that time, Kate, we were in Lake Tahoe, and we're ordering some kind of salmon or something, and you kept asking. She kept asking
is it wild caught?
The waiter
Does it have
all
this,
these questions about the thing.
And my family,
and her family just sort of laughed, like,
rolling their eyes.
Kate,
can't you just eat something like it's on the menu? And I'm thinking, wow, we're not standard people. There shouldn't be standard food. You might need something, like you said, for your libido, and somebody might need something for their adrenals. I just think it's so refreshing that you guys are in this line of work where you're actually, not only do you care about people, but you're like, to care about people and make something taste amazing and get them excited about their health and eating again and drinking tonics just it thrills me.
Super cool.
Food is love.
It is love.
And to understand that the things that the flavors and the textures and the mouth feels of things that your mother, your grandmother made, the things that you're happy to look forward to at the holidays can be things that you can have again.
Yeah.
All you have to do is just, kind of shake out those silent saboteurs that we didn't even know got in there.
Yes.
So get rid of the GMOs and get rid of the, high fructose corn syrups and get back to the real food that our great grandparents ate.
Amen.
Yeah, because it's the paradigm's really shifted, especially in the last 10 years now. So, it's not just bread, it's bread with bromine in it. It's not just a corn tortilla, it's a genetically modified corn tortilla. It's, there are all these things. It's not just milk, it's milk with hormones and all kinds of stuff in it. So there's so many more people who react to, quote unquote typical food now, that over the last 10 years it's become more of the norm that, people are allergic and have sensitivities to this food. It's still not that prevalent. But it's becoming more and more and more prevalent because the paradigm of the food has just shifted so much. It's gotten a lot better, so now we have access to just amazing foods and amazing tonic herbs from around the world that, you couldn't get good quality goji berries 10 years ago in the United States. But at the same time, the food that, your parents ate is much worse because it's much more processed. There are a lot more chemicals in the same sort of thing that you would get off the shelf now.
Yeah, it's cool. And I love what you're doing with tonic herbs and things, too, and bringing more of that into the lifestyle of people, because I think that it's such a powerful food, tonic herbalism and herbs and mushrooms and things. And, I just think it's really cool. I think
people don't know what they are.
Yeah, people don't know what they are. But so in terms of like the mushrooms, I know David Wolf would always say, you don't need to know the 3,500, all these mushrooms, but he would say you just need to know the top like 5 or something like that. So which ones are the best ones that people could just start adding into their food?
I like to start with shaga. Shaga is a great
feel free to move that
immune booster. It's adaptogenic. It flows really well with in like a chocolate smoothie.
Okay.
It was in the chocolate stracciatella strawberry ice cream that you just had.
Yeah.
And you would never know it was there. So I like shaga, and reishi's a bitter one, but I know Jay would probably love to have reishi on that list as well.
Can you hide the reishi flavor pretty well?
It depends. Chocolate is the best way of doing that. I mean, unless somebody has a palate for bitter, it's going to be really tough. It's one of the toughest things. That, like I said that and Shilajit. I mean, Tribulus is pretty tough too, but reishi just really stands out. So you could do chocolate, but for somebody who's maybe has adrenal issues and can't even do the stimulation of chocolate, they could do something like Dandy Blend or one of these coffee substitutes that's like roasted chicory root, roasted dandelion root.
Okay.
And still swing the flavor like a coffee flavor, and that way the reishi and chaga works really well with that same flavor profile.
Because chaga has sort of a, like they say, a little bit of a sweeter taste or vanilla kind of.
Yeah.
A little vanilla, yeah.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, that's why I love it with, especially with prepared maca. It gets that caramel when you had the salted caramel. That salted caramel sauce. That was all superfoods, and those guys were present.
So what is that prepared maca you said? What is that?
Oh, well, prepared maca, except instead of raw maca, when it's prepared, or it'll say gelatinized, is more bioavailable. You get more of it. There's a lot of different herbs, and this is the beautiful part about being a tonic Chinese herbalist, is that some of these herbs are better for you, just like some foods are better for you when they've been cooked, and their components are more available.
Okay.
And maca is one of those.
Yeah. Hoshu Wu, too. Hoshu Wu is one of the best kidney and adrenal replenishing herbs, certainly in the Chinese system, but really in the entire world. Great longevity herb. But if you don't cook it, it's just going to give you a laxative effect. You don't get those tonic effects unless you cook it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they talked about doing teas and things. Do you guys just do standard teas with this type of?
Yeah, well, it all depends. So something like gynostemma, we love doing tea with. Chanka Piedra, which is an Amazonian herb. The lighter flavored ones, like the green leafy herbs like that, we do more in tea. We do a lot of powdered extracts though too, because we love doing the smoothies and the ice creams, and it's just easier to be able to add that. Unless you can always make a tea base ahead of time.
Okay.
But for time purposes, it's usually more convenient for us anyways to do either like an alcohol extract or to do like a powdered extract.
Okay, so you can buy those and squirt it in.
Yeah, in tincture bottles. And when you mentioned the Chanka Piedra actually literally means breaking stones. And I had a police officer, sergeant friend of ours, who was going in for his third or fourth kidney stone surgery, and he just didn't want to have to go through it again. And he goes, listen, do you have anything for this? So it was scheduled to be in about a little less than 3 weeks. And I said, okay, this is what you do. You make this Chanka Piedra tea. You make a great big gallon of it every night. You drink it throughout the day. That's the water that you're going to drink. Put a couple squirts of chloroxygen in it and drink that instead of other fluids. And you can have water as well, but no diet sodas, no other, because he was a big diet soda drinker.
Uh-huh.
We won't mention which brand, but you'll probably just figure that out.
Yeah, there's only a couple.
And so they took him in for his ultrasound to mark pretty much where the surgery was how they were going to do it and how big the stones were.
How long had he been drinking?
It was within 21 days, and he did not have to have the surgery. They were completely gone. It literally dissolved the stones, and that's the beauty about having this kind of a tea instead of having a diet drink or something that's been in a plastic bottle or an aluminum can that is made from ingredients that could probably clean your garage floor. Mm-hmm. So instead, you put this in your body that works with your body, and now that detoxification happens, and those stones literally get dissolved and broken.
So he was drinking a gallon of this a day, about a gallon.
Pretty much, like it was the water. You should drink about a half ounce of water per every pound you are anyway, and more when you're in either detoxing, if you're not feeling very well, or if you're living like in Los Angeles. I'm from Florida. This is, I got off the plane, I was like an elephant's knee. It's so dry out here, it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So I drink more water than that normally, just to keep up, because your body needs that water to keep your rasa moving, that lymphatic moving. So it gives your body the tools it needs to wash all this out.
Wow. That's incredible. Chanka Piedra.
Chanka Piedra.
Stonebreaker, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Stonebreaker.
Stonebreaker.
That's interesting.
And even gynostemma tea. Gynostemma tea is one of our favorites as well, because that breaks down the biofilm, the thing where all these critters hang out and hide.
Uh-huh.
So and gynostemma tea all by itself, we'll even take gynostemma tea, make it into ice cubes, and then make that the base for our ice creams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Gynostemma came to fame a while back because it was discovered that this blue zone where people were living, and they were living into their 90s and hundreds, that they drank gynostemma tea every day.
Oh.
And I believe it was either China or it may have been Japan, actually, where that was. But it came to fame then. It's a tonic herb in Chinese herbalism, but it's a renowned longevity herb. But as Joy was just saying, it's one of these things that have it has components similar to ginseng. So they're called ginsenosides in ginseng, or
saponins.
Saponins.
Yeah, the gypenosides in gynostemma. But they actually act like soap when you're taking in these chemicals, components. And so they actually dissolve those biofilm layers, which if somebody's not familiar with biofilm, they could think about kind of like the scum that is in like a fish tank or like a pool or something like that. It's kind of like this gelatinous, proteiny, filmy layer, and all kinds of opportunistic organisms in your body protect themselves from your immune system with biofilm.
And they live inside there, right?
Yeah. So if classic example is that somebody will get a bacterial infection. Maybe it's a bacterial infection in their lungs. And then they go to their doctor 5 days later, 6 days later. They get an antibiotic for that, okay? The antibiotic is not going to pierce the biofilm. So you have to be able to pierce the biofilm in order for anything to get at that infection.
Okay.
And so gynostemma will do that. There are other natural things. Apple cider vinegar will do that. Taking proteolytic enzymes on an empty stomach will do that. There are a lot of natural ways of piercing that, but it's kind of just having a certain strategy and being able to take a tonic herb, which, it's not like a drug, it's a tonic herb, so you can take it every day. It's going to support your entire system, and it's going to tonify your glandular system and give you energy in the morning or calm you down in the evening. And to take something that's that supportive and that has that kind of effect is just that's the reason we do tonic herbs.
So I have a question. With the piercing of the biofilm, with I can't say that word. How did you one of those herbs? What happens after it pierces to all that stuff? Are the tonics and the herbs eating that stuff up or kind of mopping it, or is it just
your own immune system
takes care of it?
Take care of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's why you do all of your other modalities, which many of which I see in this room that we're in right now. You do your bouncing on your trampoline, you do your sauna.
Right. We try to be proactive that way. But you're right, because our bodies should be able to handle that stuff and take care of it on their own. They just need a little help. Yeah,
absolutely. And there's many herbs that will also echinacea or red root, which are usually paired together actually in immune formulas, will help to move the lymphatic system. But just moving and walking will do that. So it's being proactive. If somebody's just sitting around when they're sick, they're not going to heal as fast because their system is stagnant.
It's sludgy.
Yeah, you got to move the
stagnancy. There's no life.
Yeah.
Interesting. Can people overdo it with tonic and herbs?
Yes. People can overdo anything.
With anything.
It's water.
You can overdo with water, exactly.
It's that classic line of the difference between a medicine and a poison is dosage.
Absolutely.
And that is true for everybody. It's true for certain people more than others, and Joy actually alluded to this earlier, and that's has to do with sensitivity. And actually that was something that I wouldn't have believed if I had not worked with tens of thousands of people over the years that I did, because I'm what we would call more of a non-responder. I don't feel things as easily. Like when I'm taking things, I'll notice them more. After a while, I'll notice effects.
Okay.
But some people are super, super sensitive. And it astounded me working with people to realize that, I can give this person right here sitting in front of me a teaspoon of an herbal extract, and they may feel it, they may not. This person sitting next to them, I could give them a quarter teaspoon of the same herb, and they are going to be high as a kite. Wow. Literally, I've seen that happen in a good way. In a good way, because some people are their energy systems, and I will say their psychic systems are so really, really open.
Open.
I've actually seen this specifically with some of the people who would come into Erewhon who did a lot of Kundalini yoga. They'd be very energetically sensitive, and some people can actually. I've met people who do this. They can hold a bottle of herbs in their hand, and they'll feel the entire effect of the herbs just from holding the bottle. They don't even have to physically take it. That's kind of a whole nother level.
Lord. How can we get there? I want to be able to do that.
Right? A lot of Kundalini yoga, I guess.
That's about being clean and being tapped in, tuned in, turned on.
Yeah.
Holy.
Golly. That would be, some people, like you were saying, are so sensitive to foods, and some people, I think the average American is not really sensitive, probably because they're so toxic and they can't feel what the food's doing to them, right?
They really think that the pain in their joints and their inability to be able to sleep through the night and always feeling stressed has to do with their aging, when it really could be the air fresheners they have plugged into their walls. Mm-hmm. It's also why I became a green consultant, because I wanted to be a certified green consultant so I could be holistic about what I'm telling people, because I can give you herbs all day long, but if your soft place to fall, your home, is toxic and you're wearing dry cleaned clothes and you're getting your hair done and you've got fake nails, then you're constantly dosing yourself with things that your body can't handle.
So do you work with people and to green up their homes?
Yes, as part of when we do protocols, it's part of what we do.
You call it like off the plate or something, right?
Yeah, it's right? Beyond the plate.
Beyond the plate, right? Yeah.
We go beyond the plate and we show them how to, from the time they wake up in the morning, in fact, even where they're sleeping and how they're sleeping, and throughout the entire day, about where you can tweak it just a little bit here and there. And some of these things are absolutely free.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not like you have to buy a ton of stuff. You can sometimes just watching sun gazing and watching the sunset instead of the nightly news. Gets your because you see with your brain, not with your eyes. Gets that melatonin going. Gets your body to start to go into your circadian rhythm. It understands it. But when you're sitting there in front of a computer or you're laying in bed with your iPhone and your iPad, or whatever your electrical device is that has that bright blue light, your body thinks that that cortisol spike it's morning. It's time to get up and we got things to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why the low blue light glasses that we recommend.
We got some of those,
us too. Oh, same ones,
Yeah.
And those really make a difference. Sleeping grounded, having some magnesium before you go to bed. There's a particular one, the liquid one we love. People usually get that right away.
What's that one called?
That's Mineral Life, and it has fulvic acid, and it's liquid, and we love both the efficacy of it as well. It's so easy to take; it's liquid, so you get
just
all
drink
of it.
Yeah,
it's a little cap full, and you go ahead and you drink it. And
you got to drink it with some water because it's not the best taste. The fulvic acid's a little bit sharp.
Yeah.
Is it?
It doesn't taste like panna cotta.
No, but we could.
Oh, you could make anything taste like panna cotta.
That's right. We can take that liquid magnesium. That's why we like the liquid instead of the pills, because the other thing about taking handfuls of pills, even if they're vitamins, it makes you feel like, am I a sick person? I have to take 3 of these in the afternoon, 3 at night, 4 in the afternoon. What's going on?
You're right.
And so when it's incorporated into the food as powders or as the foods that have those same constituents, have those same levels, then all of a sudden you're enjoying food and your life again. In the form of panna cotta or pizza. Like the pizza we had out there that was completely grain-free, gluten-free, and, jacked to the rafters.
Yeah.
So
you just made a huge point, though, I think. Because even when we're doing supplementation and things, I know I'm swallowing like 12 to 15 pills every few hours.
You're on a protocol right now.
But it does make you feel psychologically, it messes with you a little.
Giving up your power a little.
I'm a little sick, I need this to help me get better. But you're not viewing it as, like, you're right, when you're eating the panna cotta with that Jing jam, you're celebrating. You're like, I'm giving life to my body in a way that I'm not trying to.
And you should get a lift.
Fight against myself.
Like, I don't know if you ate enough Jing jam to feel it, but there is enough superfoods in there and enough.
Well, it's weird because I do feel a little like ever since we ate. I'm not kidding. I do feel, and I had a little tiny bit of that coffee.
Yeah.
I think it just was enough to be like, whew. Yeah. Like I feel refreshed though. I don't feel like.
And that coffee, that was we use bulletproof coffee. We use it's beyond organic coffee when we do make coffee.
Well, then I just feel glowy. I don't feel.
And it's only a little bit, like just a little shot of it, and you make it into the Love You latte that has all the other good things. And now you're building all different systems. You're getting all that good, the good fats that are the building blocks for all of your hormones.
Completely.
That people sometimes miss.
And the other thing with that too, that when you're actually consuming all these things in your food, it makes you a little bit more aware, because when you're just popping a pill, it's really easy in the back of your mind just to be doing 10 other things.
Right.
But it also having the actual taste sensation in your mouth of whatever you're taking instigates your digestive system. So even if it's the bitterness of reishi mushroom, it's actually going to be better for you to have that in your mouth. It's also training your palate too, because the more bitter things you eat, the more your palate gets used to it, and it's probably the medicine that you need the most, actually, if you're reacting like that. But taste. Your digestion begins with the thought of the food.
I love that.
Okay, and then it
start
continues.
Making the enzymes and anticipating.
Yep, exactly, and then it continues actually with the touch of the food. If you're using a fork or whatever, you don't really have that. But in a lot of cultures,
forks are overrated.
They eat with their hands, so it's literally
connecting
the tactile, the sensation on your nervous system of the food continues with that, and then actually having it in your mouth, of course, instigates
and smelling it too. Probably
all of it.
Smelling it, of course. So all those steps you're missing if you're only taking things in pill form, and and it's just kind of like one more thing, chug my pills, and continue on.
That makes sense.
And smoothies and juices are awesome delivery systems. So if you put the herbs into that, then you're getting all that. And it makes it fast and simple, and you're not trying to, choke down 3 or 4 or a handful of pills. And you're also, when you open those pills up and you take them out of their capsules, then you're not getting, that mag stearate or the whatever that little covering's been made out of.
Vegetable cap or whatever.
When you start, and I noticed this when I became a JingSlinger and started working with Truth, that my first time out to California, is that we take the capsules and we throw them into a little cup. And by the end of the day, when you see how many of those capsules people actually take, you're like, wow, that's a big chunk of whatever going into my gut.
Or think about doing that for a lifetime if you take capsules your whole life.
Well, I have to say, it's not too pretty to share this, but when I was doing that year long of cleaning out my liver really good and doing a lot of coffee enemas, I would see full capsules.
Yep.
that my body didn't break down. And at first I thought I was like a jellyfish. I'm like, what is coming up? But it's capsules your body cannot know what to do with, so they're going to come out.
I mean, a lot of those are supposed to be more benign. I mean, cellulose or gelatin for most of them. But yeah, I mean, just and when something's in a hard milled tablet, there's more binding agents and things like that. So again, just having that taste on your mouth,
Right. And when it's a hard milled pill, you're probably only getting 10 maybe 20% of it anyway, depending on what it is and who makes it. You're not getting the whole thing. That's why we love the liquids and the powders. You're getting more bang for your buck, and you're getting a deeper, again, that cellular attunement that goes right down to your DNA and gets yourself healthy, because it's literally speaking to it and resetting those systems.
Something gross that I've done, but I do it when no one's around. Is
I always find out these
game. That's right. Is this going to be a game? Because I'm ready.
I always find out on the air what he does, and I'm like, what?
I've only shared this one other time. But,
okay.
On my morning smoothies, if I put maybe half of an avocado or something in, I'll take a spoonful of it and I'll put it in my mouth, and I'll just kind of mush it up in my mouth with the saliva, and then I'll spit that into the container, and I'll make my smoothie. But I figure, it's got some of the enzymes in from my saliva.
Did you get that from Dr. Kazar?
No, I just okay. Does he do that? Oh man!
When he takes a drink out of a glass, he'll swish it and spit it back into the glass. Yeah, he says it puts the energetic signature of your spit in there. That's
when we first heard about this. Is when I thought you were crazy, but when you said a lot of gardeners and people what is it? I'm blanking on the word, but they'll put the seeds into their mouth, get their DNA and their saliva on, and then plant them. And what comes out of that? I mean, it's just we're more connected to our food. It takes on. I don't know. I think there's something to that. I think that's totally disgusting, and I don't know if I could do it. But it's like a baby bird and a mama bird.
Some frozen berries.
It's not like he's giving it to the neighbor. It's his.
Yeah,
right. As long as it's staying in your mouth.
No, you would probably do it.
You're like, Kate, I made you some lunch. I'm like, I don't know about that. Guacamole.
What the heck?
Right. So the next time you're at a restaurant and the waitress spits in your food, it's not such a bad thing.
It's pretty digested. Nothing wrong with that. Birds do it.
It's so nasty. But I see where you're coming from, and I think there's probably a lot of validity to it. But
because if we're talking about looking at food and smelling food and touching, that's another thing too. Touching the food and working with it, pre-digested as well. I would, like you were just saying,
I think that because we're so high tech and low touch in general with ourselves, with our which is our humanness, that when you start to be very tactile with your food and you're peeling something, and those oils, you can actually see them when you hold them up to the sunlight, like off an orange or a lemon or a lime. You can see them actually spray up out of the skin. That's not by accident. That's by design. So those oils then go into our nose and our olfactory sense, and we smell it, and our body starts to get ready for that.
Yeah.
So all of that works.
I'm going to start doing a little bit more experimentation.
Well,
with
now
that,
yeah. I mean, when you guys came over, I feel like, shame on me, I felt like a finger was pointing, like, why don't you get more creative? Because you get stuck in these ruts. I think when you guys come along, you inspire people. I mean, we've watched videos of yours, and I know you guys have some big talks coming up, and a lot of people you're going to be exposed. I guess people are going to be exposed to you and your work, but don't you feel like people leave you guys? It must feel so good. People leave your presence going, I'm excited about getting back in the kitchen again.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
It's really rewarding. And we know, I'll speak for myself, that I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I left probably a pretty comfortable position in South Florida to pursue this. I already had a pension. I already had, I had things pretty much set up and done where I could just go play if I wanted to. But this was such a strong pull to come out here to do that mentorship and that program with Truth, to start to work with all of these different people by design and by in a time frame where I could get as much information as possible over years that allowed me to now garner all that information, curate it, and make it into what we do now. Because usually when you're making dinner for someone, you're not talking about, an enema bag and
spitting in your food.
Pre-chewing your food. Okay, we'll have a chat about that later. And also or grounding. But when you add those things in, it enhances that amazing meal that's now in front of you.
Wow.
How much of your diet would you guys say is liquid versus solid food?
Ooh, good question.
You say a lot of it, or do you do? We're just talking with a doctor before you guys came. Dr. Jockers out in Atlanta, and he was talking about the majority of his diet from the time he goes to sleep through it the next morning, he'll usually do liquids through most of the day, and sometimes he'll do like a guacamole or some cooked vegetables or something during the middle of the day, but it's usually like smoothies and water and tea and juices and things, and then in the evening is when he'll have his sort of main meal as a way to recover from the stress of the day. And that got me thinking, I want to start doing some more liquids in my diet. Do you guys do a lot of liquids?
Mm-hmm. I would say for me personally, it's probably 25% liquids. Because I typically I'll do a morning smoothie for my breakfast. But part of that's a constitution thing too. Like in Ayurveda, my body would be very vata dosha. So I lean more towards like softer cooked things or softer, easier to digest foods, whereas somebody who's like more pitta or something has extra digestive fire. They want more like crunchy things and things to chew on. So it's going to kind of differ in one aspect because of that. Okay.
And so when you figure out who you are and what you are by knowing what you lean into, that's what your body wants.
Got my pen stuck over there. We're okay.
So in the mornings, like it also depends on how I feel. Like if we've got a big gig that we're doing and we're doing a dinner party for some important people, then I'll have a tendency to do more smoothies and juices because I know I'm going to be in the kitchen all day. Taste this, taste that, taste this, taste that. I have to keep my palate clean, but I also need to not have that much food, and tablespoons add up. When you're tasting all those different things. So. But on regular days, or if I'm just having just a happy joy bliss day, then I love waking up and having a couple of poached duck eggs or
panna cotta.
Or panna cotta.
I'm still stuck on that. Why feel bad about it?
Panna cotta actually is an amazing breakfast because it's got the collagen. We're talking about the paleo one. It's got the collagen and gelatin. It's got the protein that you need. It has the good fats. It's got the MCT oil, so your brain's working. It's a great grab and go.
I'm so glad to hear that, actually, because for people who can't do eggs and stuff, you're like, it's something that
because that's coconut based instead of dairy based, then you don't have to worry about the dairy at all.
Have you guys ever? Sorry, I was going to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say that it's actually interesting what you were saying about your guest there, because that's actually the opposite of what they would tell you in Ayurveda. Because in Ayurveda, they say your digestion is the strongest between 11 a.m. and like 1 p.m. So you have the largest meal of the day then when the digestive fire is stoked most for the day, and then you wean down and you have less and less food at night as you're winding down, because if you have a full stomach when you go to sleep, you're not going to rest and repair as well. You're going to be digesting instead.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think it's a combination, because he was saying that
Dr. Jockers,
eating you should not be done during times of stress. It should be a way to recover. So it makes sense, if you're going to do like a workout and then you do all your stressful things or whatever, and then you eat afterwards so you're not stressed while you're eating. And so it's interesting too, because you're kind of combining Ayurvedic principles with like the modern stresses of our day. And it's like what you guys are, alchemists. Like you almost have to kind of figure out what kind of life you lead and what kind of body type you are, and figure all this stuff out yourself.
Yeah, that's what we show people. And when we let them, and just by asking them the same questions that if you went to Tree of Life to find out if they're, Pitta, Vata, Kapha, and we're a combination of all those things, but some of them are more predominant. If you're a fast oxidizer or a slow oxidizer, do you have cold hands and feet? Do you have? Yep, he points right to her, which means that you're a fast oxidizer and you're a slow oxidizer, because we attract each other. It's something
Pitta,
that
Vata.
That you actually same here, Pitta Vata. So and that happens, not by accident. Our bodies actually have that natural attraction to that thing because it balances us. We're always the universe is always trying to balance us. It doesn't matter if it's your hormones or your nerves or your
partner,
relationships. It puts that in front of us, and to be able to be clear-minded enough to recognize it and appreciate it is where all this starts to happen with the food. Once you get your body green inside, clean inside, and you start to really feel good in your own skin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have you guys ever messed around with playing with, like, what was that thing called, the ricotta that we have?
Oh, the ricotta cheese that you
No,
with
not the cheese.
The almond cheese? The
No,
fake
the
cheese?
thing that you're obsessed with.
Oh, the panna cotta.
Panna cotta. Okay.
Yes.
Have you guys ever done, like, because you say, one of your taglines is everyone's welcome at the table.
Yes.
All diets are paleo, vegan, whatever.
Yep.
Have you ever done like a combination? Because I know you have a vegan version of that.
Yes.
Have you ever done, just for the heck of it, tried to combine both of them together in one recipe?
Well,
Oh,
actually,
interesting.
paleo and vegan cross over quite a bit. I mean, once you take the meat part out of it, because they don't really do dairy, but a lot of people who are paleo do ghee, because ghee is very clean.
But vegans won't do like the collagen, will they?
No, they don't. No, they usually don't do any collagen, because then they would not be vegan.
That's right. Yeah.
But there's different times in your life when you feel like you may need that, and there's also different seasons of your life when, for example, when I found out about my tumor, then I was a pretty strict, vegan/vegetarian in the healing process. But I also realized that I was depleting myself in other areas. So it's also why we do genetic testing with people, so we can see what their genotype is. So we're not just swinging a cat in the dark room and hoping to hit something.
Yeah.
We literally go, okay, this is the amount of protein that's good for you, this is the amount of carbs that's good for you, this is the amount of fat that's good for you, these are the supplements that work for you, and these are the ones that don't. And that's why we do the genetic testing with Simplified Genetics.
So you guys will suggest that to your client?
Oh,
and then
always.
Will they get the 23andMe or one of those, or will they go
It's
to...
different.
It's different.
They actually test for particular genes. They even tell you if there's an aberration on those genes.
I thought 23andMe was sort of the only game in town.
Yeah,
but
what's
there's-
this game?
No, there's
a
so
lot-
much more. There's
a lot
that,
more.
plus there's telomeres that we do. And
This
Oh,
one's
wow.
Simplified Genetics, and they
write
look
that down.
specifically at genes for metabolism and exercise. That's kind of their special, their niche. Really.
Simplified. What is it?
Simplified Genetics.
Simplified
Yeah, so they're
Genetics.
looking at 4 genes, and they, as Joy just said, they actually tell you, according to your genes, what the ratio of fat to carbohydrate to protein is ideal for your genes.
For just you.
Because
Oh,
it's going to
wow.
be it's going to be different for people, and that's why all these diets that are out there that are like high carbs great, high proteins great, high fat's great, and I think most people will really intrinsically know for themselves. I've always known, and my body's very Vata, but I've always known from the time I was little, and I didn't know anything about anything for health, and what was coming at me from just the culture was like fat's bad. Back in the 80s, I knew that my body loved fat.
Okay.
And so it's going to be different. People usually will kind of know that. People will know, like I need protein, like protein in the morning, high amounts of protein, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joy's hand
you
goes
like
up.
yeah.
The cool thing about Simplified Genetics, they also tell you, according to your genes, what the ratio of high intensity to low intensity exercise is for you as well.
Oh, really?
that's why these top athletes and that some of our clients, they rely on it pretty heavily, because it tells you exactly what you need right down to your DNA.
Wow.
So when you start to put that and overlay that with what what your constitution is, where you live, how you live, and your daily routine, you start to a really good pattern starts to show about how you can have this, we call it superhero living. And all of a sudden you're like, I wake up ready to paint the house, I feel good, I'm sleeping good. It's because all those things that we took kind of for granted about, well, if it worked for my mom and it worked for my dad and it works for my sister, it should work for me. Not so much. One really good example, I promise not to go down a rabbit hole, is that CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, is good for weight loss. And since weight loss has always been a challenge for me, I was taking CLA. I couldn't figure out why I wasn't seeing any differences. When I got my gene test back, I saw that CLA does almost the opposite for me. I'm part of the 6% of the population where it doesn't do that for me.
Wow.
So something as simple as that can change your life on a dime. And to go from almost 300 pounds to losing almost 100.
Yeah.
So something as simple as that little change with these other things dovetail, because it's never, I must be really clear, it's never just one thing.
It's always a combination of many things.
And
yeah.
so by the more we know more about our iPads and our iPhones and the car we're getting ready to buy than we do about our own vehicle that takes us through life.
That's sad.
And
That is
so
sad.
when you realize that if you take that much time to study you and understand, be an expert on you, your life changes in amazing ways. And that's kind of what we've done.
So people work with you and you get these tests and you go over the results with these people?
Yeah,
and
it's part of our protocol. Yep.
Wow.
They have options to take that test. We also do a telomere test. And the
tell me
telomere,
about that. That sounds
that tells you, if people know what the telomeres are, they're the little things on the end of your chromosomes, the end of your DNA, much like the plastic on the end of a shoelace to keep it from unfraying. So those are the telomeres. And as you get older, it's called the Hayflick limit. As they replicate, then a little piece of it flips off. And that's the scientist who came up with this part of the study. And so you're able to see if your genes, literally what your biological age is versus your chronological age. My biological age is much less than my chronological age.
Okay.
So, and that's true for everyone. And some people, it's just the opposite. Their bodies are much older than their chronological age.
They're Benjamin Button.
Yeah, Benjamin Button, yeah.
That's not good. We got bad news for you.
And think about the toxins there. This is like, taking the fire hose and cleaning out the garage, and all of a sudden you can pull your car in there and everything works well.
Yeah.
It's sort of the same thing. Clean out the cobwebs, get it all square, and all of a sudden, you're starting from literally clean slate.
Wow, yeah, telomeres. We did a whole show with Dr. Ed Park. He's
That
like
was so
a
fascinating.
telomere expert, and yeah, it's a huge thing. And stress, lifestyle, poor food, toxins, all these things prevent the cells from replicating with the same DNA.
Well, it's the same DNA, but it actually the DNA itself actually starts to unravel. So you're getting a less vibrant gene or a less vibrant cell.
A cell, yeah.
And when the telomeres get below a certain level, you get more genetic expression for the types of things that you don't want. The diseases tend to manifest more and more as your telomeres get dwindled down. But then, conversely, when you take the vitamins and the herbs and make the lifestyle changes to support the telomeres, they can actually start to slowly restore a little bit. And those genetic switches then go in the opposite direction.
That's fascinating.
And one of the main herbs for that is what TA65 is made out of, which is a really expensive pill that you can buy. It's astragalus. It's astragaloside.
Yeah.
And that's one of the herbs that was in your donut hole you just had.
Oh, no way. I love it. I got younger eating that. That's awesome.
You look like it.
Well, doing it, yeah. Well, that's awesome. Wow, amazing.
So when you were speaking of lifestyle stress, just crazy, this world we live in, I have to say you guys work with some celebrities. It's pretty impressive and an extensive list. But gosh, in that world, people have got to be just thrashing their bodies. Probably the main actors are probably, off in their trailer, smoking their cigarettes, eating their donut holes, barely eating anything, and then showing up. And they're still performing really well. But you guys work with some big-time people that are probably performing that much better because they're regaining their youth. Really, in a way.
Yeah, I like to say that it's not the light that shines on them; it's the light that shines from them. You can tell which ones are ours because they've got that
the Jing glow.
Yeah, seriously, it's eat, drink, and glow.
Wow.
Yeah. And you'll see in Hollywood also, you'll see those people who maybe they rise to fame in their 20s, and then 5 years down the road you're like, oh my god, like they look like they aged 20 years.
Yeah.
Those are the partiers, those are the people who take their youth for granted, and hopefully sooner or later they'll get back on track. And once they do, the nice thing about that lifestyle is they have the means to go all in on all of the cool stuff and cool technology and modalities and everything, and the best of the best.
So recover what they've
so the people,
upset.
whether it's somebody in Hollywood or maybe it's a high-end business executive, they have the opportunity to make huge changes in their life that will support that really, amazingly rampant lifestyle. Whether it's filming movies and being in the public eye, or it's running, billion-dollar companies. But the average person can do that as well.
Yep. And sometimes it's just a matter of being clever about the modality. For example, if you don't have the scratch to pick up something like a grounding sheet, which really isn't terribly expensive when you compare it to sneakers and a purse, but it's something you'll have for years. Then all you have to do is take your shoes off and stand outside barefoot. It's immediate. It's in a millisecond. All of a sudden, that you get the benefit from that. Or even cryotherapy. Like we do, and we send people to cryotherapy.
Yeah, we were just talking about that in the last show.
Oh, it's so much fun. Oh, have you been?
Is that the cryo healthcare?
Yeah,
up
cryo
in the,
healthcare.
Yeah, I've heard about it, and I want to go.
Oh, we've got to take you.
Is it pretty awesome?
We will take you.
Only if you feed me panna cotta.
we will hold a panna cotta out the window, and she will chase us.
I've
and we will
heard
have
it's
it.
amazing.
No, you've been
right?
wanting to do this for a while.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll take you. We should video it because it's remarkable. And when you know that you're going to be getting into I'll call it a vault, but it's this awesome little chamber with a window that is the temperature of the surface of Pluto.
No.
Is it Venus? What is it?
Or does it matter?
It's minus 200.
It's minus 220.
220 degrees
Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
For 4 minutes or something?
Naked. And you're wearing got little shoesies on so you don't stick to the floor. And you've got little underpants on. That's all good.
And gloves, right?
And gloves.
Yeah.
But it's so exhilarating. It is. And people can, I'll say, replicate this on a smaller scale by when you're done with your shower, just turn all the hot water off and just let the cold water. It builds your nerve force.
Yes.
It also gets rid of inflammation. Or you can do who's the doctor in Louisiana that we met at the conference? Dr. Krause?
Oh, Jack Cruz.
Dr. Cruz.
Yeah, we've had him on the show.
Yeah, Dr. Jack Cruz, where
He's
he does the
awesome.
ice dunks. You don't have to have a cryo tank like Tony Robbins does.
Yeah.
He's got the cryo unit right in the house. So.
Does he really?
Yeah. So,
wow.
Am I supposed to say that? Anyway,
Probably not.
but know that being
door.
able to do that for yourself by turning the shower down and getting that cold blast, we keep ourselves in that really comfortable. We're not challenging ourselves.
Right.
And I'll tell one story on that also. The first time actually that we went to cryo healthcare a while back, we met this gentleman who was in phenomenal shape. He was in his 50s. He was just like ripped to shreds.
Almost 60s.
And
wow.
he started doing cryo health because he'd had major back surgery. He had a couple of rods in his back. He was in intense pain. He was actually on a morphine-like drug for a couple years for the pain. And after he started doing the cryo regularly, he cut out all the medications and he was pain-free, and he was just doing the cryotherapy.
And doing Ironman. And he's doing Ironman.
Oh, you're kidding.
How often do you guys do it?
As often as we can get down there. We live in the valley, over in the Topanga Woodland area.
Okay.
So to get down there, but I think they just opened a new one.
Opened one in Woodland Hills near us. We've been 24/7 with our Kickstarter campaign, and finishing up our book. So we've been
no
time for that.
Yeah.
But as often as we can is the answer to that. And anyone who does it, it's so exhilarating. Like, it's not what you think. It's not what you think.
I got to do it. I've been wanting to do it forever.
You have a date with that.
Tried the float tanks? Have you guys done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fun too.
Yeah, that brings out a whole lot of what's inside you and just puts it out on that buffet table for you to choose what you want and what you don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Golly,
that's a
it's
good way to
amazing.
put that.
Yeah, there's one right by Dr. Bergman's office.
Yeah, on the
other
corner.
one. Yeah, amazing.
Well, can we talk a little bit about the Kickstarter?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yes.
This is exciting. So, and the cookbook. Let's talk.
So the cookbook is Food with Benefits, our JingSlinger Food with Benefits. That's the name of it. And it is a culmination of literally, a couple of decades of Jay's and my work together. Simplified down into literally donut holes. And it's everything from, it's not just desserts, although that's what we're known for. It's how to bring up the level of your health with making your condiments, your breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, party food, holiday food coming up, because our book's coming out. The release date is November 11th, as long as our Kickstarter is successful. And so for the holidays, you can have all the things you thought maybe you couldn't have. And we show people how to tweak those so that everyone can sit down at the table, no matter what your preference is. But the book in general will give you a recipe. For example, like we'll take a lasagna recipe and we'll set it up on the page so that it doesn't matter if you've got paleo, a vegan, or vegetarian all coming to dinner at once, how to tweak it so that everyone gets to have the same thing instead of some weird plate of meat or a strange bowl of just greens and twigs and everyone's eating turkey. It shows you how to be able to do that so people feel, again, included, because you should feel loved around the table, and that's what this is really all about.
Wow.
And then we also show people how to do base recipes, like, for example, with the superfood smoothies or superfood ice creams, how to make the base recipes simply with just a couple of ingredients, and then all of the different options. So the superfood options, the tonic herb options. So people can go as deep as they want and as deep as their budget will allow, so that they can always make the base recipe with just a few ingredients.
Okay.
And then I want to try this superfood. Now I want to try this tonic herb. And so they'll have all these options for trying out all these, maybe new things to them and learning about them.
Interesting.
And we're talking about, this is processed sugar-free, gluten-free. Some of the recipes are grain-free. So when you're seeing like those, like the donut holes you had out there, those are grain-free as well.
Okay.
So paleo people can actually have their cake and eat it too.
And the paleo bread.
Yes, and the paleo pizza bread that you had, that can be a flat bread. You can roll that up. You can make that into, use that vegan cheese, that almond cheese, and make a grilled cheese sandwich again. Yay, and have a bowl of tomato soup.
Oh my
Yeah, and that
gosh.
flatbread is so good because it allows people to use it for so many different things. You can make
So
like
versatile.
sandwiches or put turkey in it.
Yeah,
Or
we show you how to save the money, and we also show you how to batch cook. So you could take one day of the week, gather up your kids or your friends or whoever you've got that you want to play with, or maybe it's just you, and you go to the farmer's market, you get some seasonal things, and you decide what your menu is going to be, and then you go ahead, you do it as a sheet pan, and make everything so that it's all ready in your little glass containers before for the whole week. So now dinner is waiting for you every single day. You don't have to decide what it is. It's like, I can, and you can. We encourage people to play with their food. We want you to freestyle it. So the avocado that was left from over here, I have this flatbread that was pizza yesterday, but now I can make it into a sandwich or into a some sort of a like a naan bread or tacos.
Yeah, it throws. Oh, I'm just imagining that rolled up with like a condiment and some sprouts.
Oh, something
Avocado.
sriracha.
I know, right?
I'd even
Mayo that has no eggs or sriracha that does have eggs.
I'd even put panna cotta in it, roll it. That's how much I'm dreaming about this panna cotta over here.
I know, you've been loving it.
Well,
And that's just the lemon one. You haven't had like the creme brulee or the chocolate one.
Well, I think we're going to have to hang out at the cryo chamber and meet up again.
Yeah.
So I want people to know how they can help with the Kickstarter campaign, because this is a huge thing, and we have to get you guys to. It sounds like you're way stepping in the right direction, but I'm sure you want people more on board. So
I didn't realize that the Kickstarter. I didn't realize how it worked until you told me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Kickstarter is the largest crowdfunding platform in the world. It's called crowdfunding. So one thing that's unique to Kickstarter is that it's all or nothing. So you set a funding goal. So for our funding goal, basically our funding goal is covering the printing of the first print run of our book.
The print distribution.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
print
we're printing with a local printer who uses 100% VOC-free, non-toxic inks and
Nice.
recycled paper. So, it's not being printed cheaply overseas. So the printing cost is the majority of what we have for our Kickstarter. And so we need to make the minimum, otherwise it's all a wash.
Wow.
And our minimum is 35,000, and as of this red hot minute, without looking at it, we were bearing down on 19,000. So we're a little more than halfway there, and we still have a full week. And the best part is that you aren't just throwing money at something and not getting something for it. You pre-sale the book. You buy the book, or you can get a book for yourself and someone else. You can download one of our classes. We're actually giving people some JingSlinger Academy work, where they get to have a three module class that they can purchase and learn how to JingSling in their time frame.
So when people buy that, then they're contributing to the Kickstarter?
It's making history happen. And then
that's really cool, because they're not just like donating and then that's it. They're actually
we want
buying
people
something.
involved in this. We want people. This is a grassroots situation. In order to be able to have the recipe or the book to be as clean and green as the recipes are, we wanted the printing was important, so that's why we took it on.
Nice.
And again, all or nothing. So
So our Kickstarter ends on August 21st, 2015.
What
so
day is that?
1 week from
1 week
today.
from today.
So that's 1 week.
And then
August.
we have other things on there as well. So if somebody wants to do like a 1 hour Skype session, we have that available, and we have some different high end things too for people locally.
or even for businesses, because we do a lot of public speaking. It doesn't matter, if it's at a conference or what have you. We're teaching and facilitating all the time. We even have one up there for us to go and keynote, so they can have this
So
information,
cool.
and they get plus they get all the other things too. They get the book, and then it's stacked. Like as you go up the tiers, you get all the things that are before that as well.
Oh,
so
that's
you
cool.
Get the courses and everything else that go with it.
That's a smart way, because sometimes I've seen those types of things where people just donate, but it's almost like you're buying a product from you guys, but you're donating to the cause of creating this thing.
It's a pre-sale. We're pre-selling the book in order to be able to afford the green printing that the book deserves.
That is really cool.
I value that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Crowdfunding in general, crowdfunding is only about 5 years old right now, but it's caught on so quickly that Kickstarter, last I heard, they're now averaging $1 billion every 12 months. $1
billion
of revenue generated on the site. So it's become really huge for filmmakers. It's become really huge for comic books and for new technologies too. People inventing new technologies.
There's some technologies on there that are just amazing. I want to mention Yoke, the people who do the sun technology, so you can recharge all of your devices with this stuff as thin as paper.
What is that called?
Yoke. YOLK. I think they have 9 days left, and I think they've already raised almost $1 million.
That's like on their Kickstarter.
Yeah, and even people who have means, like we aren't rich like our celebrity friends, but so this was important for us to be able to do this and really get it accomplished.
Yeah.
But people, who's the one who did Pono? Pono raised how much money?
Pono raised like $6 million.
$6 million.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! What does he do?
It was
Willie Nelson?
No. Neil Young.
Neil Young
really?
Used it as a platform to fund Pono. And when you look it up, PONO on Kickstarter, and they did get funded, obviously, because they went way over their goal, as a lot of people do. It allows them to now bring this to you at a lesser price, and they don't owe the bank anything. So it works for that. But Pono is listening to music like you're listening to it on vinyl. It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
His entire the entire video is testimonials really from people in the music business who just got completely freaked out, much like our testimonials once they experienced it.
Well, that's really cool. You know, I see this happening a lot with the crowdfunding. Crowdfunding, like you said, it's only been around for 5 years, but I think it's the direction that everything's heading, because like our show, we have a service called Patreon where people can donate. You know, some people donate, $15 per show or 25 cents a show, and it's one of the things where I think it's going to allow people like us to do the work that we do and to be able to move away from big bank loans and moving away from corporate I don't know, corporate
backing.
Yeah, and so it's
you have a lot more freedom when people are standing behind you, rooting for you, and wanting to be a
fans,
part of it.
Bitcoin, was all open source. This whole thing with open source is really popular. I think crowdfunding, I think it's going to be the way to go.
Yeah, support what you love, and honestly, you vote every time you buy something. So rather than the GMO, food, then you go and grab some healthy food that gives you longevity, and you're spending in the long run probably less money. Because we even show people how to seed save, so they can. We grow a couple 100 pounds worth of food on our patio.
How do you do that? Do you work with people, or do you have a course that teaches them how to?
It's part of what we're doing, because it's just been Jay and I. We've been doing it belly to belly. Now we're creating digital video to replicate ourselves, and of course the book is the first step in that. So
you'll have an online course for people to learn all this stuff.
Yeah, and then you're able to literally be self-sustainable. You can walk outside. I love going out on our patio, which is smaller than the room we're sitting in, which is probably 11 by 11?
Yeah,
something like
probably.
that, yeah.
And we've got, zucchini and peppers and all of the herbs and gojis growing on our patio. So you are literally growing your own money, and we show them how to do that, because if you're going to spend the money on an organic whatever, save the seeds, and then you plant them and watch them come to life.
Wow, that's really cool. You guys are doing some cool stuff. I love it. Wow. So people can go over to Kickstarter now, and what is the address for that?
Yeah, if they go to Kickstarter.com, and then in the search bar up at the top, you can type in either our company name, JingSlingers, Jing, JingSlingers, or you can type in the name of the book, which is Food with Benefits.
Food with Benefits.
Either one of those will take you to it. They could also, if they wanted to, they could hit the browse button and go under the food category, and then under the food category, go into the cookbook section.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'll do? I'll share this on our Facebook as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Yeah, because you need to meet that by next...
Week.
1 week from
Yeah,
today.
7 days.
7 days.
And
You
what's the
can do
hour
it.
on that?
I think midnight EST.
Midnight EST.
So
Okay.
9
Eastern
Pacific.
Standard, yeah.
Okay.
We're rooting.
Wow, you
We're
guys are
gonna
doing some
spread
cool
the word.
stuff. I love it.
Yeah, we want people to be whole humans again,
Mm-hmm.
and to feel themselves, and to be able to enjoy even the simple things. As like again, I told you some of our recipes are just a bowl and a spoon.
Mm-hmm.
The Jing jam, you had 1 bowl, 1 spoon, done.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't it taste?
Heaven.
I'll just ask you, how did it taste?
Heavenly. It was phenomenal. It was simple and complex at the same time, and it was just like it's a delight
So
for your
good.
palate. I mean, that was a treat. That was a really big treat, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty picky. So.
That's right.
I
And
mean,
we're
a lot of
talking.
people are picky, I'm sure, and you guys
Yeah.
are just blowing it out of the water.
Yeah.
Did you? Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Did you coin the term JingSlingers?
Actually, it started at Air One.
Okay.
Because Jing, Qi, and Shen are the 3 treasures for tonic Chinese herbalism, and TMC or TCM. And so we're slinging Jing. I used to be a gunslinger. Now I get to be a Jing slinger.
I just think that's the
But
So
we started with Jay and Truth and the people at the bar.
Yeah.
Isn't it fun when you find your mission and passion in life? It's cool because you did being a cop for 20 years, but when you finally figure out what it is you're supposed to do in life, it's so much more. You got passion about what you're doing. You're excited about it.
Yeah, it's what you get to do instead of what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly right.
well put.
Awesome.
Whew, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah,
this
thanks for
was
coming
so much
in.
fun.
So you're gonna head up to Dr. Bergman's from here?
We
We're
are.
going to go get adjusted on the way back.
Nice.
Nice.
We get 2 adjustments.
Yeah, 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock.
2 o'clock and 5.
Oh, you guys will
Sometimes
make it
I
perfect.
crack more on the second adjustment. Do you ever have that?
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you go multiple times a day, your body's nice and warmed up, and like the second or third one, yeah, you'll get a big one.
Yeah, man, I love that. This feels so good.
They gotta love when you guys come their way. You probably pack some goodies. And
Yes,
We always bring treats.
Oh.
I mean, I was so inspired just to know that Dr. John Bergman gets up, at 4 o'clock, so we can start adjusting people at 5, so they can be adjusted and ready to go to work and meet their schedule.
Right.
Who does that?
I know.
And I mean, that's the kind of light worker him and John DeWitt are, and I just love his energy. I love how I watched him. I've sat there waiting to be adjusted, watching him work with these little children and infants and
Little babies.
and being able to put them back into alignment so that when your spine is where it's supposed to be, then nothing's being kinked off, so that all of your organs are getting all the signals it's supposed to, so they work fully. And people don't understand that. They think a chiropractor is after a car accident, and a chiropractor is from the time you're born and the way you're born to just doing some stuff around the house can put you totally out of alignment.
Yeah.
And then you start to get other symptoms that have nothing to do with maybe that limb or part, has to do with where that is in your back. So what he does is again light work.
Phenomenal, huh?
Well, it does show people are waking up on that level too, because we see so many babies in there. It's like people are like, I want my child to have the best start, and I just think that is where it all starts.
Yeah.
It does. It
I
starts
don't know
with
how
birth.
he does what he does. He
He's
wakes
amazing.
up at 4 and then does starts at 5, and then you see him doing his YouTube talks for at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the
And
evening.
teach at the university, at the medical schools.
Oh,
He must have
does?
good Jing.
I
Yeah, he
didn't
taught
know.
anatomy and physiology
Anatomy and
for
physiology.
a long time.
My
He's
goodness.
Dr. Bergman's classic Kapha constitution, strong constitution. The Kapha dosha has the most Jing of any
Oh,
dosha,
really?
or
Yeah.
Ojas, as they would say in Ayurveda.
Yeah.
Same concept. Yeah.
Wow, he's great. I love both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing
whatever we can
people.
do to help
Phenomenal.
and support them.
Yeah,
And
Dr.
you
Bergman.
guys too. You're light workers. You're putting that information out there so people can go, "Wow, I didn't know."
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
Yeah.
And to know better is to do better. So knowing what your options are is everything.
Yeah.
In anything you do in your life.
Yeah, I just want to let people know. Same with you guys. It's just there's more going on than what we know, and people do have options. They have choices, and even if they learn about what we're doing or what you guys are doing, and they still decide to go to some traditional medical treatment, that's okay. I just want people to know there's options. There's choice. They have lots of viable options that could help them. Love the work
Why
that you
we're
guys
all
are doing.
doing what we're doing. Yeah, thanks you guys for
thank you
putting your talent into the world.
No, thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it greatly, and especially the timeliness of this, because see how the universe works. We're right in the middle of Kickstarter, and
It was
and we need the
perfect.
love. So yay!
Yeah.
Kickstart love your way, guys. We're rooting you on.
Jinx. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say thank you guys. You guys have a phenomenal show. You have great guests on, and we really appreciate what you do.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
JingSlingers.com. And you have a
them out.
Facebook group people can go and...
Yeah, social media, it's all just JingSlingers.
Awesome. And
So Instagram.
do you have an email list that people can get onto as well?
Oh, yeah. They can just jump right on our website and jump into our Jing Master Circle.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing everything that you guys got going on. I know you're going to meet your goal. You're going to meet it.
I'm confident.
7 days, you can do it.
We feel it manifested. It's happening. It's
Yeah.
so be it.
Yes.
I love
Amen.
it. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the live show. Really appreciate it so much. This episode was episode 393. So if you want to catch the show notes of all the stuff we talked about, the cryo healthcare, all the different links that we talked about, Dr. Jocker's show that we did just before this, you can find that at extremehealthradio.com/393. And we'll be back next. Let me get this up really quick. We'll be back next week, next Friday morning. How do you say his name, Kate? Dr. Salman Sohili?
Oh, Sohili. Dr. Sohili.
Yeah, we met him. Where is he?
Spark Health down in
Spark Health.
Solana Beach.
Yeah, amazing
Great
guy. Doing
guy.
some good stuff. Really great stuff. He'll be in studio next Friday morning at 9 a.m.
I love
Pacific
the
time.
in-studio ones. Yay.
Yeah, a lot more fun.
Yep.
And make sure to catch that show at extremehealthradio.com/live. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. All right, that's a wrap. What did you guys think of Joy and Jay, the JingSlingers, man? I tell you, when they came over, we did a YouTube video, which we'll be putting on this particular show page, but when they came over, it was so much fun because we got to try a ton of their food that they brought over. They were going to do an interview with us, do a conversation with Kate and myself, and then they were heading on up to our favorite chiropractor, Dr. John Bergman, who we've had on the show a couple times. So they were going to stop here and then head on up there to get adjusted by Dr. John Bergman. But so they brought a bunch of samples of food, and let me tell you, the stuff they're doing, I'm not sure if I said this on camera or not, but man, they are really taking things to another level. And I can't begin to tell you. I mean, I think I was telling this on the YouTube video, but I've seen a lot of cookbooks and a lot of people teaching food and things, but there's something they're doing that's it's next level stuff. And meeting them in person was an honor, and it was really fun. And I just really love what they're doing. And the food they make is incredible, and their story is just awesome. And I would highly recommend, if you can, head on over to Kickstarter and help them, support them if you can, and you can donate. It's actually not a donation. You get a cookbook out of it. So we're going to be doing that here pretty soon, and getting the physical version. I think it's $25, and you can get that. Great people doing such great, amazing things. And I think it's one of the things that's sort of become a lost art. And I think as a culture, as a society, we're sort of moving back to that, where we're spending more time in the kitchen. And I think that in general, the more time you can actually spend preparing your food and with loving intention, the healthier we're going to be. And I think that we got sort of off track from that for many, many years, for many, many decades. And we got into the fast food thing, and we got into this whole fast-paced society where people are too busy to prepare their food. And whenever you have large corporate monstrosity companies putting together your food and feeding you, there's going to be real problems with that. And I think that over time, you're going to start to manifest those health issues that come from companies that really don't have anything, any vested interest in you being healthy or well nourished, or companies that aren't really concerned with the environmental impact and what they're causing planet Earth, and whose main goal and main focus is purely to make a profit, regardless of how sick their food makes us as a culture. So, rebuilding and rekindling that skill, I think, of spending time in the kitchen, it's a sacred thing. I think it's really something that we really need to get back to as a culture and as a society. And anytime we get a chance to teach people how to do that, and give them the motivation to do that, I think it's a really cool thing. Because, I hear a lot of people talk about how it's just too hard to make healthy food, and blah blah blah. And I think that gets into a self-love issue as well. Something we didn't really talk about during the show. There has to be some level of self-love and self-respect that you have for yourself if you really want to be healthy and you really want to take the time and the intention to take care of yourself. Because really, if you don't take care of yourself, who's going to take care of you? It's up to each one of us. It's up to you listening. It's up to me to learn how to develop kitchen skills and figure out how to work with food and figure out what to eat and listen to our bodies. These are all skills that need to be taught. They really do. They need to be taught in our culture, and unfortunately, in our school system, they're not only are they not taught how to feed themselves and just the basics of how to nourish their bodies, but PE is being taken away from schools and a lot of schools around the world, especially in America. And like I said, not only are they not taught kids, that is, how to feed and nourish themselves, but they're also given the most incredibly unhealthy foods that cause, mental disorders, ADHD, and all kinds of neurological problems in kids, and from the fast food or the lunch food that they're being served, and it's a real travesty. And so, having a skill like learning how to be good in the kitchen is one of the most important skills that you could develop and cultivate in your life. And that's something that I'm working at. Sometimes I get lazy, and whenever I get lazy, I resort to making green smoothies or doing something in the blender. But that's a heck of a lot better than opting for fast food or something like that, which it's not something that I would ever do. But developing kitchen skills and making food that tastes good quickly and easily, and these types of things, I just think it's really, really, really important. And also coupling that with the intention, the self-love, and doing it because you're worth it. Doing it because that you have something to offer the world, doing it because you care about yourself, doing it because you want to live long, healthy, disease-free life, and be there for your family and for your kids later on in life. And you can be sharing, wisdom from your years of living rather than being sick, and having, being a burden on your kids and that type of thing, and having the energy to take care of yourself and to be a good example. I think these are all things that come from self-love, and cultivating and developing skills in the kitchen to really nourish and take care of ourselves because we're worth it, and hopefully that translates perhaps to other areas of life where you can actually start learning what it is you want to be doing on this earth. You have the energy to pursue your passions, and all this comes from feeding and nourishing yourself properly. And we have to sort of go back and unlearn, I think, a lot of what we've been taught growing up. And so I love what Jay and Joy are doing at JingSlingers. I'm a huge fan of what they're doing, and meeting them in person was a lot of fun. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we have and you're not on this particular show page, extremehealthradio.com/393, you can head over to YouTube and go to one of our playlists. I forget which one it's going to be under, but you can see the YouTube video we did with Joy and Jay when they brought a lot of their food over to our place, and we had some good conversations. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. So I just really thank you guys for being a part of what we're doing here at Extreme Health Radio. Without your help and without your support and your donations and sharing our shows on Facebook and Twitter and things, we just couldn't do what we're doing. And so we are deeply grateful and appreciative of each and every one of you. So really, really appreciate it a lot. And as I said at the beginning of the show, this episode is brought to you by the Qigong course that I highly recommend. We had Tristan Truscott on a couple times, and he's another guy just doing great stuff, man. It's, I talk to him semi-regularly offline, and he's just a great guy. I really love what he's doing. And his Qigong course is awesome because Qigong, for those of you who aren't familiar, it's a type of, it's kind of similar to Tai Chi, but it helps to cultivate and develop Qi, which is our life force energy. And, living in today's society with stress and the demands that, rob us of our life force, rebuilding the life force is possible through moving meditations. And for me, I'm a big fan of meditation. I do it about 15 minutes a day so far, and it's been loving it. Just regular meditation where you sit down and just kind of focus on your breath. And I also love the float tank as well. Float tanks are just amazing. Sensory deprivation tanks, unbelievable. We've done some shows on that, but moving meditations is really a powerful way to bring that healing energy and chi and light, or however you want to describe it, into a flow form that is really grounding. And I don't know, I've just been a big fan of it. Qigong has just been amazing for me. I do it 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. They have power sessions, and then before that they have a bunch of videos explaining what it is and walking you through all the different instances of what they're doing. And once you're done, you can do the power sessions for 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, and it really helps to ground you and to protect yourself from losing that energy and just being grounded throughout the day. Just a great course. So if you guys are interested in that, you can check that out in our store. There's some videos in there, as well as going to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, and that's QIGONG. So make sure to check that out. I really, really highly recommend that to everybody. I think it's a great way to sort of fend off, and protect yourself from life stresses. And as you know, it's my contention that all diseases comes from stress and from emotional, spiritual blockages and depletion of our energy and our life force, and Qigong's a great way to restore that. So if you're interested, you can check it out, extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. And I want to say too, thank you to all of you guys who have been bookmarking our Amazon link and using the bookmark whenever you make purchases there on Amazon, whether they're health related or not. Nothing changes for you, but it supports our show, and man, we're just so grateful for that. And we can see what people purchase, but we can't see who purchases what or when. So everything's private. And yeah, I'm so thankful. So if you want to do that and support our show, just make sure to use your bookmark every single time you make a purchase there on Amazon, and maybe even share that with your friends too and tell them to do that. It is extremehealthradio.com/Amazon. And another really amazing way to support us too is on Patreon. And if you only have a couple bucks and you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can support us on a per podcast basis. So we do 4 shows a month, and if you want to donate like $1 a show, if you think they're worth it and we're doing good work that you want to help support, we would appreciate that. And we use your support from Amazon or Patreon to pay our monthly bills, not just for the business, but for everything, for Maggie's food, for our food, to pay the electricity and the server costs and everything related to the show as well. So your support is really, really greatly appreciated. And you don't get charged too if you use Patreon 4 times a month. It only comes out at the beginning of the month. And a lot of people donate 25 cents a show, or $1 a show. Some people do $15 a show. But yeah, if you're able to do that, we would really appreciate it. It would help us tremendously, and we are so grateful. So check out our video over there, and there's some things that we'll send to you too if you decide to support us on there. And again, thank you to everyone who also shares our show on Facebook. That's been huge lately. And if you find a show that you really enjoy, or an article, or even just an update, if we post an update on Facebook where we share an article from some other website and you share that on with your friends, that's really tremendous for us as well. So in any event, we just thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Joy and Jay from JingSlingers, and you go over to their Kickstarter page and purchase their ebook or their regular book. They're great people. They're just doing great work, and they were one of the really, really, they're very genuine. When we met them, they were very genuine, because if we're talking with them about all the different celebrities they know, sort of off camera. They know a lot of really interesting celebrities, and they're just so grounded, and they're just, out to do the work they do and help as many people as they can. And it was really refreshing. And yeah, we just think they're great people. So if you guys are interested in their Kickstarter thing, go over there and support them that way too. And we just, want to thank you so much for all your support and everything else. So greatly, greatly appreciate each and every one of you. please don't forget to share our work with your friends if you can. That would be really great. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Hey, everybody. This is Josie, Justin's mum. Don't tell him, but I know he would absolutely be really happy if you would sign up to his free weekly newsletter. And don't forget to share this with all your friends. This is the buzzing bumblebee signing off.
That was so good.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease.